So enterprise resource planning. So to kind of start off with the definition, it is a suite of software that organizations use to manage day-to-day business activities. And what I mean by business activities is it will include accounting, project management, risk management, and supply chain operations. Now, when this software is complete, it contains enterprise performance management. And what this program does, it helps plan, budget, predict, and report an organization's financial results. So what this suite of software does is they kind of tie everything in the business together and allows them to share data all across the business. And this is very important to businesses because it can, eliminate data duplication, which is pretty bad, cause a big problem, and really just gather everything from a single source. So to move on, here are kind of some fundamentals of it. The first, like I mentioned, is it uses a common database. And really this helps provide information just all across the organization, just pulling from one source rather than having to pull from all these random places, where they may store random files. You can just go into this database, search what you want, and access it immediately. The second is it keeps common terms for items and products. So say you're a paper company and produce like notebooks. If one part of the business calls it notebooks and the other calls it journals, that's going to cause a major problem, major confusion. Say they have some sales on journals. Well, did we charge it to notebooks or how did they do that? This will just call it notebooks, get it figured out, and have the same terms for one item. And so everyone across the organization understands what is being talked about. And the third fundamental I kind of wrote down here is that it's really convenient for accountants. For one, it helps keep the correct amount in the general ledger at all times. So say someone, you make a credit sale and they'll pay you in 30 days. Well, normally you would record that journal entry, obviously, of accounts receivable. And when you put that into this database, it will just update everything all the way across, which ends up at the general ledger. So really you have the correct amount and current amount at all times in the general ledger, so you know exactly where the business is at. And really just it helps everything flow and save time and work. So why is this valuable? Well, there's many ways that this is valuable to businesses. I listed down 4 of them. And I think these are really important. And the first one I mentioned is, and I think the most important way that this helps businesses, and that is it improves business insight. And what I mean by that is, so take, for example, you have a client or maybe an investor, and they want to know how your business is doing so they can decide whether to put some of their money in or stay out. Well, this software will generate real-time reports. Like I mentioned earlier, everything flows across to the ledger. So you can just pull out data really quick and know exactly where the business is at that certain point in time and give the information to whoever needs it so they can make an accurate decision rather than just having to give them estimates. The second way is improved efficiency. I kind of touched on this earlier, but for accountants, if everything flows across, that's going to save you a bunch of time later in the year or later in the month. So you can get everything done. You can get a lot of work done. Maybe work on some other stuff to advance the business in some ways. The third has consistent infrastructure. And what I mean by that, it keeps the same look from one part of the business to the other. So for example, sales and accountants in accounting part. If someone from sales wants to go in and look at the accounting records, they know exactly how it looks, they can read it, they can understand it. Same for the accounting part. If they want to go into the sales, they know exactly what's being talked about for each label and each definition. And finally, it reduces risk. And I said this earlier about eliminating data duplication. This goes into that. It really just improves the ease of it just stops really these stupid mistakes, maybe a adding error, and it will do all that for you so you don't, duplicate data, you don't add wrong, so you have the exact information of what the business is doing. So to conclude, this is where businesses are going. It's moving towards this technology-based infrastructure, which I think is very beneficial. Like I said before, improved efficiency, and as technology, moves further along and becomes more and more great and easier to use, it's going to be in business more and more. So I think it's great for business. I think it will improve everything and help everyone get an easier feel of business. It makes it's very efficient. It saves time, and it's easy to understand and work once you get the hang of it. So yeah, that's a little bit about enterprise resource planning. Thank you.